Welcome back to Pook Spooks, where we bring different groups of friends together, one story at a time. It's MBCK Corner, and it's Charisma.
Lolly.
Brenda.
Mona.
This time it was my turn. The book I picked was White Nights by Fyodor Dostoevsky, and it was originally written in Russian and translated into English by Ronald Meyer, I believe. Yeah, the story is set in Petersburg, Russia, where our narrator, who's a young man, falls in love with a woman named Nastinka, which is actually short for Anastasia in Russian. I just found that out. But yeah, right from the start, it's very clear that it's unrequited love because all she's talking about is her lover who has left and how much she misses him and how he promised her that he would be back. That's basically the gist of the book. A little bit about the author. He went to school in St. Petersburg, where the story is set. That's kind of a connection there. And he often writes about characters who feel like outsiders in one way or another to explore like the complexities of the human emotion and things like that. And he puts a lot of himself into these characters. Like we can imagine that whatever our narrator is feeling or expressing is probably something that he has felt before. And he's dealt with quite a number of hardships in his life where like he had to tackle like loneliness and grief. And he lost his mother from a very young age, and then his father was murdered while he was away. The author himself was arrested and sentenced to death. But then very last minute he was let go. All of these things he went through probably made him have like a very different outlook on life and experience these emotions on a deeper level that he later gets to express in his books. I gave this book a 3 out of 5 because it was written in Russian. I feel like it was meant to be read in Russian. I'm not saying this to like disregard all the efforts and like hard work that was put into translating the book. Translating books is quite difficult, I would imagine. You're not just translating what someone is saying if it was like in a conversation. It's a whole like different, deeper meaning type of thing, especially when like certain things work in one language and they don't work in the other. It's just a matter of like differences between the structures of the languages and the cultures behind the language. Because I'm sure there was probably a lot of like nuances that I didn't pick up because it was originally written in Russian. Some things in the book were translated quite literally, which made me think, oh, it was probably meant a different way. Yeah, it was good for what it was, but I'm sure it would have been a lot more thought-provoking if I had read it in Russian, if I understood Russian.
I listened to the book. I agree with Charisma. I was very confused, very alarmed the beginning part of like when they first met. And I would also rate it at like a 3 out of 5 because I was very confused. As I continued listening and got into it, it was very intriguing.
We also got to keep in mind that this was written in 1848, a whole different world from now.
Well, I rate it also a 3. I also listened to the book. His way of flirting was very out there. Like you said, you have to take in consideration like the time period, and I guess that was all the rave back then. But I started getting interested in the book when she started talking because he spoke a lot. He spoke a lot. I'm not gonna lie, some of the things he was saying, I just didn't understand what he was trying to say. Like you said, I think it was meant to be read in Russian. So maybe there's just some things cultural wise I just wasn't like getting. This poor girl didn't get a word in for like a whole chapter. I liked her character. She was messy, I'm not gonna lie, she was really messy. But you know what? Who's not messy? At like what was she? She was like 17. Oh my God, there was this comment. The worst thing she could say is no. That's not the worst thing she could do. Because what she did to him was so foul.
Like everyone else has said, I also rated a 3 out of 5. I didn't like it, but I didn't dislike it. It was just like, okay, yeah. I didn't have any strong feelings. I kind of agree with Sit Lolly. Like he just yapped a lot. What he was saying, I got it, and I was like tuning in and out. He was trying to talk about like his past life and what he's been through, and she was trying to be a good sport. I mean, I like the girl because I wanted to know more about her. I feel like when it comes to translation, it's less about what the words mean, but like encapsulating the feeling. So I think it was difficult for me to follow. Again, this is like another descriptive book, and I have a hard time with descriptive books because I'm just like, what are you saying?
Okay, my favorite part, I was actually like laughing out loud when she's like something like, I love you because you haven't fallen in love with me yet. And I'm like, girl, what?
When she was like, I love like how you are, like his personality, but I love him more. And she said that to him. I was like, jaw dropped, gagged completely.
I was taking into consideration the time period, but the way he approached her, I was like alarmed. I guess those were the times. He just wanted someone to hear him out because the way he was just describing like the things that he's been through, he needed a therapist.
Yeah, I feel like they both needed someone to hear them out, so they both just yapped away.
I zoned out when he was talking. I did not get his story, but her story started and hers was interesting.
I think because he was 26 and he has not been with a woman, I think he was just a bit desperate. In modern times, that is what it would be looked upon because when it comes to like forging a relationship, slow and steady wins the race.
Yeah, basically what you said. He came off really strong. And the way he approached her, I think in what are we, 21st century? I don't think that would have like worked. You're a stranger from the street, please. He was doing all these things for her. He was like, I'll go talk to him, like I'll give him the letter. What do you think is gonna happen? Like, if you're helping her with this guy, she's not gonna pick you. The reason she started crying was because of him. Like, the only reason you guys are talking is because of him. Everything just revolved around him. If someone is telling you that they are so deeply in love with someone else, what makes you think two conversations is gonna make her like change her mind? He kept talking. I was like, I think there's a reason why. I think there's a reason why you're a loner. No offense. But he didn't let her get one single word in.
Crash
The
out.
amount of times he was like, Nastinka this, Nastinka that. I'm like, please.
Take a drink every time you hear the name Stinker.
I was gonna popcorn off your point. My sweet angel, my darling. Putting myself in that position right now, if I just met you and you're calling me all these sweet names and I don't even know you, don't. But I'm just a hater.
She was so clear all throughout the book. There were so many things that I highlighted, and I was just cracking up because she literally said, "When I'm married, we will be great friends, more than if we had been brothers. I will love you as much as I love him." But obviously not in the same way. But I feel like he had like collective hearing where he was like, "Oh, she will love me as much as she loves her." If we're thinking about it like on a deeper level, maybe he just wanted to give her his all, like the things that he did for her, delivering that letter and stuff like that. He put her above his emotions. He just wanted her to resolve this thing that has been weighing on her mind, even if it meant that she would end up with someone else. There were some things that she said, I'm like, girl, don't say this out loud. Keep it to yourself, please.
Like you said, like the whole point of the book is like unrequited love. I feel like it wasn't love. They literally just met. I would have more sympathy for him if it was like years of friendship and like he loved her and he did all this for her and like she just didn't reciprocate that. I'm like, but with him, he's only known her for like what, 2, 3 days. It was just he was 26. He's getting to that age. He just wanted someone. It really could have been anyone. But I think specifically because she was vulnerable, because she was in that state of mind, he was just like, let me speak to her.
I feel like there's a power dynamic here, kind of like what Silali said. She's like very vulnerable, very naive, and he just wanted somebody, and she was like the target.
Amongst the things that I was like, girl, keep that to yourself. She was like, do you know what just occurred to me? I was comparing the two of you. Why isn't he you? Why isn't he like you? He's not as good as you, even though I love him more than you. I'm like, you don't know him, first of all. But also, why would you say that to him?
Also, I just want to talk about Nastinka. She just accepted his love because the other guy just didn't show up, which should have raised flags for him too, but you know, whatever. He was like walking her home and then the other guy was just, I think he was like outside her house or something. And she just ran to him. Like, no goodbye. He just stood there and like watched, stand up, go be messy too.
You're saying that to a man from 1848.
It's inevitable that we have like these thoughts because we're like reading a book from the 1800s and our mind and our thoughts are so like modernized about like relationships.
The letter was diabolical.
That was just closure for her, not to feel like a shitty person. And she's not a shitty person, she just did a shitty thing.
This was low key giving like Twilight in the sense of Bella, Edward, Jacob, because girl could not choose for her life. I think she kissed Jacob or something. I
Let
don't
me tell you the
remember.
lore. Jacob kissed her, and then she was mad about it. She punched him in the face, broke her hand. Edward was like, she didn't ask you to kiss her. Oh, we were just in words. Whatever, that's what he said. Later on in the movie, they're going to go fight because Victoria is making an army, really just trying to kill Bella because Edward killed James. And Edward had proposed to Bella, and she said yes, and they got engaged. Jacob found out about it. He was like, you can marry her. I'm just gonna go and get killed in this fight because it makes your life easier. And then he ran off. She's like, Jacob, wait! And so she ran after him. She's like, Jacob, it's they kiss or whatever, and yeah, that's the story. That's the lore.
This is basically what it's giving.
But that was over a course of a few months. This is over the course of like 4 days.
Stinka had always chosen the other guy. She was just settling for this one because he was there. She was clear, but I feel like with Bella, she was just messy. Like she could not choose. She would have gotten them both if she could. But then he went for her daughter, which is something else.
Okay, the whole thing about no, I'm kidding.
Nastenka just wanted a way out. She just didn't want to be pinned to her grandmother anymore. But let's talk about the letter because the letter was wild.
Girl, when did this become a whorehouse? Like, come on. Like,
She should have stayed pinned to her grandmother.
Granny
Please.
knew what she was doing, actually.
I thought the pin thing was like a figure of speech, but then when she got deep dive into it, she was like, no, she was actually pinned. And then she like switched places with her maid. I was like, so this was for real?
Also, her story with the guy was just very rushed with the guy that she like she ran to. Like I knew she loved him, but I didn't understand like why.
Put yourself in her shoes in 1848.
Taking into account her age, she's 17 and she's so young. I think we can all remember when we were 17, like the way we thought then about like many things. But in this context, like love and relationships is not the same now that we are in our like early 20s. And I think because she's with her grandmother up until that point, right? Attached, pinned, mind you. When you lack something and it's right in front of you, like crumbs of attention will be a feast to someone who's never had it before.
Also, her going up to the guy's room, telling him like, "What are we?" I would have been taken back. I'm like, "What are you talking about?" It really could have just been her and her imagination. He could have been lying. He was like, "Yeah, like I feel it too." Feel what?
She was 16. If that was a year ago, she was 16.
Different time period, different time period. Yeah, who unpinned her from her grandmother during the night because her wandering off into his bedroom was crazy.
What you said, Solali, about all of this being in her imagination. In the book, she says, perhaps all my love amounted to nothing more than my feelings and imagination. Just my imagination. So she's saying she probably made all of this up in her head. And maybe she actually did. But then again, you ever been in these types of situations where you know it's there, the other person just doesn't, they just like, you know what I'm talking about. Those types of situations. And you're like, well, did I make this up? Am I delusional? So I took it as that. They could be just gaslighting you into believing that it's not really what it is. And I'm like, was it this or was she actually making it up because, this is the 1800s and you don't know this man?
Bro just wanted the kitty. He just did not get it. He thought he would love her even harder, but it did not work.
It's the 1800s, guys.
Yeah, but even in the 1800s, people still wanted kitty, okay? Listen.
If you have like any favorite quotes.
I really like the one that you quoted.
Why isn't he you? Why isn't he like you? He's not as good as you, even though I love him more than I love you.
I'm a girl's girl, so period. Speak your truth. But damn. That shit. If that was me, if I was him, I would have been hurt. I would have been hurt.
When they first started talking, he told her that he would dream about her. I'm a dreamer. I have so little life that I look upon such moments as this, now as so rare, that I cannot help going over such moments again in my dreams. I shall be dreaming of you all night, a whole week, a whole year. It was kind of cute. It was kind of eating. I was like, okay, if you knew her a little bit longer, it wasn't gonna give off creepy. If I put myself in her shoes, he would have ate me up. Not like that. Not like that. Not like that. He was just good with his words.
I have another quote that I really like, all the way at the end, where he stood there and watched them go. He just said, I stood for a long time and watched them walk away. Finally, both of them vanished from sight. The whole thing was about how he was trying to help her get back with him. And then now he's actually watching both of them walk away right after she was like, oh, I'm gonna try being with you.
I like the quote that after he read the letter, it was like that I should nurse a grudge, Nastinka, that I should cast a dark cloud over your bright, serene happiness, that I with bitter reproaches should cast pangs of anguish on your heart, wounded with secret remorse and force it to beat with anguish at the moment of your bliss. That I would crush you, whatever. Basically, he's just like, he wishes bad on her, but then he's just like, oh, never, never. May your sky be clear. May your sweet smile be bright and serene. May you be blessed for that moment of bliss and happiness that you gave another lonely, grateful heart. So sad. Poor dude. Like, he just wanted to touch his cheeks and like,
Oh no! What if he just wanted to buy her a house and grow their children on a farm and sweet stuff like
Well,
that?
how were you gonna get those children?
you had to clap some cheeks, Corinne.
Cheeks.
But he was just a hopeless romantic.
Okay, I'll give him that. He just wanted somebody to be there.
He got so attached to her so quickly. I feel like we could all relate to that at some point in our lives where we got really attached to some person.
He was attached to the idea of her. It's hard to like blame him, be just like, oh, like, well, he asked for it. Like, no, like we've all been like a victim. You want something so badly, like your imagination like basically just carries you throughout and make up a person that's not there.
The whole experience that was this book is basically the innocence of our first encounters, this emotion, this attraction that we often refer to as love, even though it might not have been love. All of these things that he felt and all of these things that he has said, it comes from really an experience. We've all felt the same way that he felt when he watched her walk away with the other guy. It really encapsulates that experience as a whole. That's what I liked about this book, and I feel like we would have really, really liked it if we understood Russian. So, White Knight, did it mean something deeper to you after you read the book?
Didn't they say it like at one point?
Yeah, he kept referring to their meetings as White Knights.
I thought it meant like, oh, there's no clouds in the sky, clear night sky, like white nights.
I think for me, when I think of white, like I feel like it was like pure, sweet moment. Spends his nights with her. There's nothing going around but the two of them. They're in their own little world.
I felt the same way. I took it as like innocence. I did search it up, and it was set in St. Petersburg, and it said that white nights refers to the natural phenomenon of white nights that occur in St. Petersburg during the summertime, when the sun never fully sets, creating a perpetual twilight that mirrors the story's theme of dreaminess, longing, all of that stuff.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I didn't think about it. I was just like, okay, white nice, whatever. I didn't like
Yeah.
you like deeper meaning behind it. Rosie.
Oh yeah, it's during the summer solstice that occurs in St. Petersburg in Russia. So that's like a little sprinkle.
Sprinkle.
Okay, guys. So the next book that I would like for us to read is called Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. So it basically talks about these two women that are in the literary industry. So they're both authors. I believe one of them is Asian and the other one, I think she is white, if I'm not mistaken. The Asian author, she is doing very well and everyone loves her books, but the other author is not doing as well as her. The Asian author dies. The other author decides to steal her work and rebrand it as hers.
Pretty exciting plot. It's very different from what we've read so far.
I feel bad for rating it like a 3 out of 5. I don't know. I feel like it was like a really good short story. Like it was nice.
In the beginning, I said like I didn't like it, but I also didn't dislike it. I feel like now that we talked about it, I did like it, but I still like I don't have like a strong feeling towards the book. I think what's funny is that there's the shift in perspective from modern times to the 1800s. That's what makes it enjoyable because I can actually think and comment on certain things.
I think it was a really good book. I don't think it would have been my first grab, but I did enjoy it. I probably just rated it a 3 just because there was just some things I just didn't understand that he was saying. Not her. She was great. She was perfect. I just didn't understand what he was saying. Well, she was, yeah, I support women's rights and women's wrongs, actually. She was just a girl. She's just a girl.
I did like this book. I just wish, again, he understood Russian and read it in its original form. Nothing against the author who translated the book. It's just the way languages work. I really did like our discussion of it. I mean, we understood the deeper meaning, but seeing this from the modern perspective, we couldn't get past that. We were just like,
Past him. We just couldn't get past him.
yeah, and her. I couldn't get past the things
Okay,
that
but she's modern day messy as well.
She was tolerable.
She was so sheltered. How do you not expect her to be messy, bro?
Oh, that's a good
that's
point.
true. Yeah, while reading this book, I just kept thinking about our experiences with this.
Now that we've said that, oh, we kind of share that experience or we've been through that, it kind of highlights how we're not so different in the mind of love, like despite the
Yeah,
times.
it really is. Sort of representing the early stages of when we feel these sorts of emotions, even in modern day, like you said.
It'd be like that sometimes, it's rough out in the 19 or what is it?
The 1800s.
This was a good introduction to the literary classics. It was a good choice. Okay. I think we all have like very diverse genres. That's a good thing
Mm-hmm.
for our book club that we can explore it together.
It makes you pick up a book that you never thought you would read.
Okay, that's it for today's MBCK Pook's Books. Keep reading.
And we'll see you
Next.
Chapter.
Bye.